Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Supatantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapatakamelam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Ladita Shri Vishakham Vidamsya Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostule Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhesya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimade Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namo Hare Krishna Hari Om Tat Sat. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, from text 48 onwards. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api natyajed sarvarambhi doshena dhumena agnir ivavritaha. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api natyajed sarvarambhi doshena dhumena agnir ivavritaha. Mayri Madajan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api na tyajet sarvarambha hi doshena dhumena agnir avratah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji translation. Every endeavor is covered by some faults. Just a fire is covered by the smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature. O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of faults.
Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that one should not go away from his prescribed duties, even if it is full of fault. He should do his prescribed duty. Because we are in the material world, we are covered by the three modes of material nature. So, three gunas means there will be fault. Three gunas means it's not pure. Okay? Three gunas, whether it is Sataguna or Rajaguna or Tamoguna. Everything, every guna has its own faults. So, whatever work we are doing within these three modes of material nature, it has some fault. And very good example is given here. What is the example? Just as fire is covered by smoke. Fire is there, it also produces smoke. Similarly, whether we are doing the work in the mode of goodness or passion or ignorance, it is gunas. It is contaminated, isn't it? So there will be some smoke. There will be some smoke like fault. So even though there may be some fault, we should not run away from our prescribed duty. That's what Krishna is specifically telling Arjuna. In conditioned life, all work is contaminated by the material modes of nature. So as I explained, in this material world, everything is contaminated by the material modes of nature. Sattva, Rajas and Tamo. That's why we say it's guna. But transcendent nature is called nirguna. So nirguna means one should not mistake that it has no quality. It has no material quality. It has spiritual quality, transcendental quality. So if we transcend the three modes, we are in the pure mode of goodness. So even if one is a Brahmana, he has to perform sacrifices in which animal killing is necessary. So Prabhupada is giving an example in the olden ages, in the previous ages, a Brahmana has to perform sacrifices, the animal sacrifices. One should not think that animal sacrifice is done for sense gratification, for eating flesh. No. It is just to check the potency of the mantras they are chanting, because they are Brahmana, how pure they are. To check the potency of the mantras being chanted. And plus, the animal slaughtered in that sacrifice is getting rejuvenated and gets a human birth. So it's not to kill the animal and eat the flesh. That is not the purpose of sacrifice of animals in the olden ages. But now in the age of Kali, it is prohibited, because we don't have a qualified Brahmana who can chant the mantra in a pure way and rejuvenate that animal into a human form of life. So that's why Prabhupada says that he has to perform sacrifices. So sacrifices in which animal killing is necessary. So animal killing is himsa. It's not a good act, but at the same time, it was being done in the olden ages. But the purpose was different. Now the purpose is different. Why we are killing the animal? Why we are killing the animal? For our sense gratification. In the olden days, it was not the purpose. Similarly, a Kshatriya, however pious he may be, has to fight enemies. Kshatriya has to use violence to subdue the enemies. So that's also necessary. So there can be some fault in that also. So he cannot avoid it. Similarly, a merchant, however pious he may be, must sometimes hide his profit to stay in business. Or he may sometimes have to do business on the black market. So Vaishyas, merchants, they have to do business. When doing business, they may have to say lies. They may have to hide their profit margin. If they declare, if they disclose their profit margin, the customers will bargain. Suppose I'm selling a product. The product costs 10 dirhams. I'm selling it for 100 dirhams because there are so many added costs to it, not the original cost. The transportation, the company expenses are there, salary expenses are there. So many other, unseen expenses. So all these had put together. We may, 10 dirham product, we'll sell it 100 dirham. Okay. And I'll tell Parag Prabhu, this is, 100 dirham, I'm keeping very, very minimum margin. Actually, 90 dirham is my cost. Only 10 dirham I am keeping. I may be keeping 30 or 40 dirham profit. Why? Because if I have to make profit, I may have to say some lie. So that's also there. So that's why we cannot avoid that. Similarly, even though a man is a Shudra serving a bad master, he has to carry out the order of the master, even though it should not be done. So we are working for the masters, the owners of the company. They may be indulging in some sinful activities. So we have to close our eyes certain times. We cannot say no. So that's why Shudra also, when he is serving a bad master, he has to, be part of that, their lies or whatever bad activities they are doing. Directly they may not be involved, but indirectly they're also part of it. So despite these flaws, one should continue to carry out his prescribed duties, for they are born out of their own nature. So one cannot run away from the prescribed duties, even though there may be some faults, even though we are not directly part of it. We are indirectly part of it, but we should not run away from that. That's why prescribed duty. A very nice example is given herein. Although fire is pure, still there is smoke. So fire means it is goodness, it is pure, but there is smoke. Yet smoke does not make the fire impure. Yeah? The smoke does not make the fire impure. Even though there is smoke in the fire, fire is still considered to be the purest of all elements. Whatever you put in the fire, it will purify. So that is, fire is a purifying agent. If one prefers to give up the work of a Kshatriya and take up the occupation of Brahmana, he is not assured that in the occupation of a Brahmana, there are no unpleasant duties. So Brahmana's duties are good. So let me try to do Brahmana's duty. So Prabhupada says, even one does Brahmana's occupation, one cannot expect 100% purity in that. Some unpleasantness will be there even in the duties of a Brahmana. One may then conclude that in the material world, no one can be completely free from the contamination of material natures. In varying degrees, there will be faults, there will be, dissatisfaction. There will be fault, there will be dissatisfaction, there will be incompleteness in any of the work, whether it is the work of a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. So this example of fire and smoke is very appropriate in this connection. When in winter time one takes a stone from the fire, sometimes smoke disturbs the eyes and the other parts of the body, but still one must make use of the fire despite disturbing condition. So Prabhupada is giving another example in the winter time, that cold season, to keep us warm. We make use of the fire, but when we are making use of the fire, there may be smoke, and it will disturb us. But still, we'll continue doing that, taking the help of the fire to keep us warm. Similarly, one should not give his natural occupation because there are some disturbing elements. There's a saying, from this side, the other side is greener. Always from this side, the other side is greener. So if I am a Shudra, the Kshatriyas Varna is very good, or Brahmanas very good. Sometimes Brahmanas say, oh, this is difficult. We cannot say lie. We have to be always tolerant. We have to be always patient. We have to be always, what you call it, steadfastness, all these things, good qualities we have to maintain. Look, Shudra, no problem. He can tell lie, he can do any of these things. They are free. Nobody will question. But if we do so, then, we are unnecessarily, put in the limelight, doing all these things. So from one, if you are putting our leg in somebody else's shoe, then we will know how much difficult it is. So that's what you say. That is a perfectional point. When a particular type of occupation is performed for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord, all the defects in that particular occupation. So how we can purify, even though there may be faults in each and every one's prescribed duties, how we can purify that? So Prabhupada is giving a very good example here. When a particular type of occupation is performed for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord, then all the defects in that particular occupations are purified. So whatever activities we are doing, we have to do it for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord. Then all this flaws, all the shortcomings, everything will be purified. When connected with devotional service, one becomes perfect in seeing the self within, and that is self-realization. So in brief, one should not jump from one's occupation to another's occupation, thinking that that is good and this is bad. One should stick to their varna, to their occupation. That is what the nature, that is what the acquired nature of the particular person. And we should not cry for somebody else's occupation is good, this and mine is not good. One should do, what is that? Sthane sthiti. Wherever you are situated, you do that prescribed duty and do it in such a way that pleases Krishna. So if at all, if there is any faults, it will all be purified when it is done in pure devotional service. So this is what Krishna says to Arjuna. So any questions or any comments? Not, we'll go to 49. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigata spruha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasayadani kachadi. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigata spruha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasena gachadi. Tarani Mataji and Vandana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigadas naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasena adhikachati. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Vandana Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation. One who one who is self-controlled and unattached and who is disregard all material enjoyment can obtain by practice of renunciation the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction.
Very good.
Hare Krishna.
One who is self-controlled and unattached and who disregards all material enjoyments can obtain by practice of renunciation the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. So Krishna is giving another sutra to Arjuna. One should be controlled, should have unattachment, and who disregards his all material enjoyments can obtain by practice of renunciation the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. Highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. So everyone thinks that freedom means, what is freedom means? We are all having freedom. Okay. But do we have freedom? We don't have freedom. We think that we have freedom. We are always controlled by so many people, so many things around us. Isn't it? We don't have freedom. We mistake that we have freedom. But if you want to really get freedom, highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction, what should be done? We should control our senses, okay, and we should not hanker for any material enjoyment, and we should renounce all material activities. Then we can attain the perfect stage of freedom from reaction. Because so freedom from reaction means, Parag Prabhu, what exactly do you understand? Stage of freedom from reaction. How can we attain? By doing what?
This means karma phala. We should not have the karma phala, because whenever we have the karma phala, we have to come back and bhog those karma phala.
Okay.
So by giving all our karma phala to Krishna, we can be free from the reaction of the karma. So everything what we do in the Krishna consciousness, that this thing we are doing is for Krishna only.
Okay.
For the spiritual purpose, we will not have the reaction of that karma. Prabhu. That's
So,
what I understand.
what is that karma called?
This is called Prabhu akarma.
Yes, very good. Akarma. So when we do any activity on the platform of akarma means that which for which you don't get any reaction. So the activity that you are doing is for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord. There are karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma is fruitive activities. Vikarma is forbidden activities. Akarma is activity that pleases Krishna. So if we do akarma, then we attain the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. There will be no reaction. No reaction means no coming back. Reaction means coming back. Reaction, whether it is good or bad. Even if you are doing pious activity, you have to come back to enjoy that. If you are doing sinful activities, you have to come back to suffer for that. So there should be no activity that invite that that invites reaction. All our activities should be just to please the Supreme Lord, not for our sense enjoyment. So if it is for the pleasure of Supreme Lord, there will be no reaction. So akarma is the activity on that platform we have to do. The real renunciation means that one should always think himself part and parcel of Supreme Lord. Therefore, think that he has no right to enjoy the results of the work. Since he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, the results of his work must be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. This is actually Krishna consciousness. The person acting in Krishna consciousness is really sannyasi, one in the renounced order of life. So who is a renunciant? A Krishna conscious person is a renunciant. By such a mentality, one is satisfied because he is actually acting for the Supreme. Thus, he is not attached to anything material. He becomes accustomed to not taking pleasure in anything beyond the transient happiness derived from the service of the Lord. So his only goal is to satisfy the Supreme Lord, even if he has to undergo inconveniences while performing his duties. The sannyasi is supposed to be free from the reactions of his past activities. But a person who is in Krishna consciousness automatically attains this perfection without even accepting so-called order of renunciation. So it's not necessary that one has to be a sannyasi to attain this perfection. So a Krishna conscious devotee is automatically sannyasi. It's not like that he has to put on the garb of a sannyasi, saffron cloth. No. If he is Krishna conscious, he is automatically sannyasi or renunciate. Automatically attains this perfection without even accepting the so-called order of renunciation. This state of mind is called yoga rudha, or the perfection stage of yoga, as confirmed in the 3rd chapter. Yastu atma ratir evasyat. One who is satisfied in himself has no fear of any kind of reaction from his activity. So one who is satisfied in himself means he understands who he is. He knows he is not the body, is Atma, and Atma is a part and parcel of the super soul or Bhagwan, and his duty is to serve the master, the whole, by which he will be satisfied. So in that way, he will not get any reaction for his activity. Any, any questions or any comments? So we'll go to 50. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tadapnoti nibodhame samasenaiva kaunteya nishtajnanasya yapara. Mayur Mataji Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
सिद्धिं प्राप्तो यथा ब्रह्म तथा प्राप्नोति निबोध मे समासेनैव कौन्तेय निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा.
Very bold.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji translation. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain the supreme perfection stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize. Hare Krishna.
Very good. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfection stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize. Now Krishna is going to summarize how the person who is on the platform of Agarma is getting to the perfection stage, that Brahman stage, Brahman realized stage, and the stage of highest knowledge. And by acting in the way I shall now summarize. Now he is going to summarize that. The Lord describes for Arjuna how one can achieve the highest perfection is simply by being engaged in the occupational duty, performing that duty for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One attains the supreme stage of Brahman simply by renouncing the result of his work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. That is the process of self-realization. The actual perfection of knowledge is in attaining pure Krishna consciousness. That is described in the following verse. So what is the attainment of attaining the supreme stage of Brahman? What does it mean by that? One attains the supreme stage of Brahman. So what is the meaning of Brahman here? Is it Brahma Jyoti?
Self-realization stage, Prabhuji.
What is that?
Self-realization stage, Atma.
Yeah, self-realization. Yeah. So here, because Brahman can be denoted to various meanings. Brahman can be Brahman, Brahma Jyoti. Brahman can be Atma. Brahman can be Super Soul or Bhagwan also. So in this context, what does it mean? One attained the supreme stage of Brahman simply by renouncing the result of his work for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord. So what is this Brahman stage? You said right, but still, to be precise, what is the stage of Brahman is mentioned here? Yeah, you are on mute, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, that I am part and parcel of the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, okay.
He is the Supreme and I am part of that one.
Okay.
So that is a realization that I am the das of God. My person means what is your position here, Prabhuji?
So what do we do once we come to understand that position? What do we do?
All our work for the Krishna only. We realize that we are dasanu das, means we are not ourselves, we are the das of the Krishna. But Jivere Sarupur Krishna Nitya Das. That is the realization, Prabhuji.
So once one attains the supreme stage of Brahman simply by an announced result of work for satisfaction, that means we comes to the state of pure devotional service.
Pure devotional service.
We come to the stage of pure devotional service. So Brahman means, that is the Supreme Lord Bhagavan, where we can engage in our pure devotional service.
Pure devotion.
So that is the context here. So Brahman can be misunderstood also. Some people say, oh, Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. I'm that Supreme Brahman also. But now I have not realized. That's why I am in this material body. When I realize that, I'll become Narayana. So Brahma Jyoti, the Brahman, and the Jivatma is also sometimes addressed as Brahman. Paramatma is also sometimes addressed as Brahman. Bhagavan also is addressed as Brahman. So depending upon the context, we have to understand. So if we have to specifically mention that, we are Brahman, but so Bhagavan is Parabrahman. We are Brahman because we are also spirit, isn't it? So that's why from that perspective, we are Brahman. We are part and parcel of that same Supreme Spirit, but we are not Parabrahman. Parabrahman is only Bhagavan. So Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukto Dhrityatmanam Niyamya Cham Shabdadin Vishayam Styaktva Ragadvesho Vidhasya Cham Vivikta Sevi Lagvasi Yata Vakaya Manasa Dhyana Yoga Paro Nityam Vairagyam Samupashrita Ahankaram Balam Darpam Kamam Krodam Parigraham Vimuchya Nirmamo Shanto Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpati. Okay, Tarini Mataji and Vandana Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
You
Prabhuji.
can read two sloka and the third sloka let Vandana Mataji. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukto Dhrutyatmanam Niyamya Cha Shabdadin Vishayam Tyaktva Ragadveshau Vyudasya Cha Viviktasya Vilakvashi Yata Vakaya Manasaha Dhyana Yoga Paro Nityam Vairagyam Samubhashritaha. Krishna Prabhuji.
Vandana Mataji, this last sloka and the translation.
Can you make it little down, Prabhuji?
Okay.
No. On this actually Sanskrit I'm reading, Prabhuji. Sorry.
Ahankara.
This can you make it little up? Sorry, Prabhuji.
Now,
No. This Hindi written over there, no? The Sanskrit, this shloka. No problem. Okay, no problem, Prabhuji. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmama santo brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
very good.
Translation, Prabhuji, please. Yeah, translation. Being purified by his intelligence and controlled the mind with determination, giving up the object of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a scheduled place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of the material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization.
Very good. So self-realization is not that easy. Okay. Krishna gives a big list. Who can attain self-realization? So what are the qualifications required to be self-realized? But it is easy. Why? Because we are in the age of Kali. In Kali Yuga, everything is simplified. You know, the yajna, which used to be for days together, months together, now they are doing in half an hour. The Brahmanas, you know, go to any dham, you go to Gaya, you go to Kashi, you go to, you know, what do you call, Vrindavan, Ayodhya, wherever you are, you call a Brahmana and ask them to perform a yajna. In 15-20 minutes, they will finish the yajna. Very, very simple. But in the olden days, it was not possible. Okay. So here Krishna is also giving Arjuna, these are the qualifications required for self-realization. But for us, we are all Kali Yuga Jivas. We hardly live for 100 years, you know, 60, 70 is average. So for us, there is a lot of discount. Krishna is given to us. Lot of discount. Bumper sale. Okay. So, but still, simply by following the instructions of the spiritual master who comes in the unbroken chain of disciplic succession, we can attain to this position. Although we are not qualified, by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, it is possible. Okay, a little shraddha, little austerity is required. Okay, austerity. What is the equivalent word in Sanskrit? Austerity.
Tapasya, Prabhuji.
Yeah, very good. Tapasya, tapa. Okay, tapa, tapatrayon villam. What is tapa? Tapa. Tapa comes from tapa. What is tapa means? Heat.
Heat.
Yeah, we have to burn ourselves. We have to burn ourselves. That is tapasya. We have to accept little inconveniences. That's tapasya, tapa. Okay. So, when we take little inconvenience, when we accept little inconvenience voluntarily, then we can attain all these things. It's not very difficult, unlike the olden ages. It's very difficult to attain that stage. But here in the age of study, it is easy. Why? Because everything is simplified. Okay, little austerity. No, austerity means, you know, you have to get up a little early in the morning, little early, okay, to do all the devotional activities, chanting. So this we are accepting voluntarily. If you don't accept voluntary inconveniences, the Mother Nature will put by force inconveniences also. So which is better? Accepting voluntary inconvenience or, you know, getting beaten up by the Mother Nature forcefully? This is very simple, you know. It's not that very difficult. Getting up a little early in the morning, chanting our rounds, doing some devotional activities, reading Bhagavatam. Early in the morning, the children going to school is very difficult, especially in the summer and winter. To get up early in the morning, you know, especially in the winter, you know, you want to just put the blanket on and sleep. But we are calling. I'm seeing here, they don't get up. Very difficult. They want to sleep. But it's little austerity to get up and study. So such austerity is required. That's all. So it's not very difficult if we compare to the olden ages like Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga. So this is a very simplified version. So if you take that little austerity, even Brahma was given this word, tapa, tapa, by who? By Lord Vishnu, Garbhodasa Vishnu. So what is it? Tapa is do austerity. So for how many years did he do tapa? How many years? 1,000 celestial years. 1,001 celestial years means 6 months is there celestial years. 6 months. I mean, sorry, 1 day. Our 6 months is 1 day for the planets. Just so imagine, 1,000 celestial years Brahma did tapas. Then only, you know, he got enlightened. So is Krishna asking us to do tapa like that? No. Very simple austerity. So being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secular place, So being purified by his intelligence. So we have to use our intelligence. We know the hierarchy: dull matter, senses, sense objects, mind, intelligence, then soul. So what is the position of intelligence? Above the mind. So the intelligence should control the mind rather than mind controlling the intelligence. So many cases we see that intelligence takes a backseat, mind overtakes, mind controls. So what happens when mind controls? We'll end up doing all nonsensical activities. So for us to use the intelligence, we have to be Krishna conscious. We have to follow Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. We have to read. How we can sharpen our intelligence? By doing what? How can we purify our intelligence? What should we do to purify our intelligence?
By the Shastras, Prabhuji.
Yeah, by the Shastra, by studying Shastra. How can we purify our mind?
Austerity, Prabhuji.
By Manan and Chintan project.
Manan and Chintan. Not precise. How can we purify our mind? Intelligent, you said, Shastra, right? Yes. Mantra. Okay, we can purify our mind by chanting mantra. Mantrayate iti mantra. Okay. So mind can be purified by chanting mantra. Intelligence can be purified by reading Shastras. Consciousness can be purified by devotional activities. Money can be purified by ill-gotten money. I mean, the money that we earn by illegal means, directly or indirectly. We may not be directly involved in that activities, but we are partaking the money of our employers who are involved in some illicit activities. So that is not a pure money. So that can be purified by how?
By Dan, Prabhuji.
By charity.
Charity.
Okay. So like that. So we have to purify all these things. So intelligence should be purified. So by being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind. So controlling the mind by the use of intelligence with determination. What determination? That see, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We are supposed to satisfy him rather than satisfying our senses. We should hammer this again and again using our intelligence, and we should control the mind in that manner. Giving up the objects of sense gratification. So which are the objects of senses? Which are the objects of senses?
Vision.
Okay.
It's vision. For ear sound, for nose smell,
Yeah.
for touch taste, and for this and touch, which is
Okay. So can you give some example? The eyes. What is the sense object? Form. Rupa. Right? Sight. Okay. So how it is affecting our consciousness? How can we control or give up this objects of sense gratification as far as eyes are concerned? How we can control that? Give up. How can we control that?
तो प्रभु जी भगवान का ही दर्शन करें और कुछ ये नॉनसेंस चीज ना देखें.
Yes, exactly. So there are so many things which allures us, which distracts us from devotional service. So we should not see such things. We should not use our eyes to see things that give satisfaction to our senses. Rather, we should see those things that satisfies the Supreme Lord, thereby satisfying us also. So I should be doubted to satisfy Supreme Lord rather than satisfying our senses. Similarly, each and everything. Yes, we should not hear anything mundane. We should hear, suppose now somebody is very much interested in music. There are so many Bollywood songs, Hollywood songs, this, that, Instead of hearing that, hear devotional songs, Vaishnava songs. So we are rightly utilizing our sound vibration through the ears. Similarly, that's what it is said, controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification. I don't want to use our senses for my sense gratification. Rather, I will dovetail all this for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Being freed from attachment and hatred, raga dvesha. Okay, I'm too much attached to my family, to my position, to my name, to my fame, to my wealth, to my people. So these are all attachment. It's not that we should not have love and affection. It doesn't mean that. But we should not be attached to that. We will see with our people, husband and wife, parents, children, relatives, friends, we will have attachment, definitely, because we are human being. We have love and affection. But that should not be a stumbling block for spiritual advancement. It's not that we should be so much attached that we forget the Supreme Lord. We should take care of them. We should give love and affection, should make them understand, but it should not be a stumbling block on the path of devotional advancement. So we should be in the neutral stage, not hatred also. Okay, I don't like that person, I like this person. Okay, if you don't like that person, well, no problem. Don't attach. Don't keep away from that person, but don't hate him. No hatred. I cannot get along with that person. Okay, well, don't associate with him. Keep away. Say Hare Krishna, and that's it. So with whom you can gel, you have company with that person. You have association with that person, because all the 5 fingers are not alike, isn't it? It's not a must that you should gel with everybody. We are all having our own, nature. We are all born with our own nature. So it is possible that we may not gel or get along with many people. It's fine, no problem. But just keep the distance. But at the same, we should not have any hatred towards that person. One who lives in a secluded place. Why secluded place? Because it was possible that time to go into a forest and to an undisturbed place without any disturbance, do meditation. Nowadays, it is not possible. Now we can stay in the company of devotees to avoid that. So in the company of devotees, we will hear only Krishna Katha, chanting of the holy name, no Prajalpa. So because we don't have the facility to go to a forest and do meditation, all these things are not possible now. So now what is possible? To be in the association of devotees. So in the association of devotees, we will not hear anything mundane. So that is important thing. So suppose now chanting Hare Krishna Mantra. It's always recommended to chant in the association of devotees. When everybody is chanting Hare Krishna Mantra, even if my chanting is not pure, by listening to the pure chanting for other devotees, I will have some inspiration. And my mind will not wander here and there. But at the same time, if I am chanting amongst, people who are, who is seeing telephone messages, Instagram or WhatsApp or this and that, watching television, reading newspaper. In the midst of such people, if I am sitting and chanting, where my mind will go? I'll get distracted, isn't it? So here secluded place means in the midst of devotees, or you go to such place, in a secluded place, in a room where such disturbances are not there. No television, no telephone, nobody around you, children are not there, If you are at home, usually what happens? Wife will tell husband when maybe he is standing, please see in the kitchen, put up the stove, bring this or bring that, or somebody has rang the bell, open the door. So your chanting concentration will not be there. Similarly, for the wife also. Okay, wife is chanting, sitting and chanting, husband will say, please bring glass of water, please do this, please do that. So she is also not getting. So it's always, so that's why it is prescribed Brahma Muhurta. Why Brahma Muhurta? Because nobody is there to disturb you. People are mostly, people are not Krishna conscious, they are sleeping. No telephones, no telephone will ring. Okay. Only after 7, the usual disturbance starts. So till 7, it's a quite good time to chant. So chanting as far as possible, if we can finish before 7, at least, even otherwise our mind wanders here and there. So if we are chanting after Brahma Muhurta, just see where our mind goes. Even Brahma Muhurta, because our mind is so much contaminated, our mind wanders here and there, we cannot focus. But at least there is no much disturbance. To some extent, we will be able to focus. So that's what it said. One who lives in a secular place, who eats little. Why little? Because if we eat more than required, what will happen? We'll be lazy, alasya, and we'll tend to sleep more. That's why it's moderate, mitahara. Okay. So control says, what is the lekshan of Vidyarthi? I have told earlier. What is this? He says, no? Vidyarthi Panchalakshanam. Anyone remembers?
Yes, Prabhuji. Tat cheshta bhako dhyanam swanida tathaiv cha vidyarthi, sorry, tat cheshta bhako dhyanam swanida tathaiv cha. There is 2 other more. Vidyarthi Panchalaksha type shloka is there.
Mitaharam Panchalakshanam. Okay. So what
Hare
is
Krishna, guys.
Sorry, Alpahari Grah Tyagi Vidyarthi Panchalaksha. Yes.
What is the first thing?
तात चेष्टा बको ध्यानम बगला जैसा ध्यान and then swan
Kaka cheshta bhako dhyanam swan nidra
तथैव च अल्पाहारी गृह त्यागी विद्यार्थी पंचलक्षणा.
So this is Panchalakshan. Who says this?
I don't know, Prabhuji.
What is the name? Our Chanakya. Chanakya Pandita says this. Now, what is Kaka Cheshta?
This कौवे जैसी चेष्टा.
Yeah. Crow.
या क्रो की तरह
Crow, yeah.
चालाक होना.
हाँ. No, पानी अगर ग्लास में कम हो तो
Yeah.
क्रो क्या
Yeah, you
करते हैं?
can put
पत्थर
the-
डालते हैं.
पत्थर डाल के.
Very intelligent, isn't it?
Okay.
So like that, the Vidyarthi, the student also should be intelligent. So Kaka Cheshta, then Bhako Dhyanam. What is Bhako Dhyanam? What is Bhaka crane? You have seen on the, what you call this pool side and all, the crane, the river side. It's just as if it is meditating. What is it meditating? Meditating on the fish. When, the right time will be there, immediately just take that, just bite that and take the fish. So as if it is meditating only. So that our focus will be like that. Bhagavad Dhyanam. Okay. Then Swan Cheshta. Not, what is that? Swan Nidra.
Swan Nidra.
Nidra should be like of that dog. What is the speciality of Swan Nidra? Immediately, little sound.
Immediately wake up.
Immediately. The sound is very much. If we also, our other senses, while sleeping, other senses may not work, but the sense of hearing is work. So we should be like that, little alert. We should be always alert. Okay. And what is the fourth one?
Alpahari.
No, that is fifth one.
Grah Tyagi, Prabhuji.
What is that?
Grah Tyagi. Grah Tyagi. अल्पाहारी गृह त्यागी.
ना ग्रह त्यागी नहीं है, दूसरा कुछ है. ग्रह त्यागी नहीं है. No, no, not necessarily. Okay, I'll tell you. It's not ग्रह त्यागी. Yeah, it is already covered by, Kalka Cheshta, Bhako Dhyanam, Swanidra, Alpahari, and Brahmachari. Alpahari is the fourth, means balanced food. And Brahmachari means, Brahmacharya. Brahmachari, Panchalakshanam, Vidyarthi Panchalakshanam. So these are the, not Grihatyagi. Okay.
Prabhuji, in our college,
Uh,
the teachers, when we're not studying, they saying they change the definition of Vidyarthi. The person who take the Arthi of Vidya, they call Vidyarthi. You people make a definition Vidyarthi killing the Vidya and taking the Arthi of that. You are becoming the unique Vidyarthi there.
Okay. So this is Alpahari, means balanced food. If you eat more, then you will be alasya, you will be lazy, you will tend to sleep more. And Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means, we know that, especially in the student life, celibacy, we have to follow. So these are the 5 lakshana of Vidyarthi. That's what Chanakya Mandita says. Okay. So who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech. Power of speech, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna very says, okay, Anudvega karam vakyam satyam prihayidam chade swadhyaya abhyasanam, what is that? Tan vanmayam tapa uchyade. Okay, like that we should control the power of speech also. Who is always in trance, such a person will be always in trance. And who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. So these are all the qualities that one should acquire to be elevated to the position of self-realization. So Lord Krishna says very in detail all these things in Bhagavad Gita. We should not have false pride, lust, anger, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, krodhat, bhavati, sammoha, smriti, vibhrama, smriti, bhramshat, buddhinasho, buddhinashat, pranashyati. So these are all, it will destroy our bhakti. Okay. Dhyayadvam vishaya pumsam, sangasteshu bhajayade, sanga sanjayade kama, kamat krodho bhajayade, krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibhrama, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. So all these things are ornaments for a devotee. We should not have anger, lust, pride, false ego, all these things. And we should be detached from all such things. Such a person is elevated, and he will be eligible to attain self-realization. That is what it says. Okay. Now the sloka purport we will read next week. It's a little big. It's also 8:30. So I will just mark here. So we started from where? 48. 48 to 48. We started from 48.
Yes, Prabhuji, we started from 48.
48 to 51.
51.
Okay, okay. 51 to 53, 48. Okay, okay. Stop sharing here. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय।